Welcome, everybody, as you're coming on board to our 12:15, the last of our 3-day week of Winterfaith. Our Winterfaith tradition has been 3 different Wednesdays during the winter term. However, the winter term being so short this year, the only option that we had was to do what we call a week of Winterfaith. So this is the third of those 3. The last 2 have just been really excellent, and I'm really looking forward to an excellent program today with our speaker, and very excited about being able to have such really good participation. This has been some of the best participation that we've had in years, or really any of the years. So Zoom worked in some ways. So I hope that when J term comes around next year, I know some of you will probably be abroad, hopefully by next year when everything is done. And I know many of you were here this year, had to stay here, but we're just so thankful that we've had this opportunity. With Elon Community Church and with Elon University working in concert, and also open to the community now, which has been a really great development since we've been able to expand the program. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Allison, and she has some news to share, as well as she will give the opening blessing. So go ahead, Allison.
See, even I forget to unmute sometimes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allison Pelhes. I am the Multi-Faith Coordinator at the Truett Center for Religious and Spiritual Life at Elon. If this is your 3rd day back, I'm sure you're tired of me introducing myself, but for folks who are new, welcome. This is the 3rd day of Winterfaith until next year. This afternoon, we will hear an introduction to an Indigenous Occaneechi Saponi perspective from Miss Vicki Jeffries. She is a traditional dancer and tribal administrator for the tribal nation of the Occaneechi Saponi in Alamance County. And Ms. Jeffries has worked for physicians for 35 years and retired from UNC Family Medicine in Chapel Hill recently. She is a beater, basket weaver, and Indigenous herbalist. And we are excited to learn more from her. As a reminder, I want to suggest that you keep yourselves muted for the duration of our 40-minute lesson and discussion, and then I will open the chat so that you can ask questions, and we'll do a short Q&A. I am going to start us off with a blessing. I do want to take a moment of silence to remember James Markley, who is a sophomore Elon student that passed away yesterday evening. So if you could just pause wherever you are to remember James. Thank you so much. I'm going to read us a blessing. And this is from a poet named Morgan Harper Nichols, who is one of my favorites right now. Wonderful Instagram. She's a Black female poet. And these are the words she brings us today. Here in this life, you will feel many things. You will laugh and you will let go. You will gather stories and you will grieve. You will be interrupted by light. You will find gold in little things. You will have questions led to answers, and you will have questions you sit with for years. You will long for days to come, and you will learn to find joy right here. You will watch old things drift away, and you will see new things take shape. You will look back on old years in awe of all the ways you've changed. And over, things will change. And you might feel a little afraid. And you will also find there is grace to take this day by day. Take heart here in the change. You'll still bloom day by day. I'm going to pass the mic off to you, Vicki.
Okay, I think I did like Allison. I forgot to unmute myself. First of all, I want to thank Allison for having me here today. I'm really honored and blessed to be a part of the Winterfaith series. And also, it's a custom in our tradition to introduce ourselves in our native name. And my name is Mihe Heyananhes Yatsi, which means woman who stands tall. I am a member of the Okanichi Band of the Saponi Nation, as Allison noted. And I just want everyone to know that when I'm speaking about spirituality, is coming from me, and it's not, I'm not, this is not the views of the tribe. This is, I'm as an individual, okay? So I know people are really interested in our spirituality, and just, you know, we get that question asked a lot, and people are saying, okay, you know, like, do you have a word in your language for religion? And we actually don't, because our religion is all around us. It's not just that we, you know, we just, I just, forgive me for saying this, but we just don't go to church on Sunday. It's like it's all around us. It's the trees, it's the rocks, it's the flowers, it's the air, it's everything to us. So when when we get up in the morning, we normally will smudge, and that kind of starts our day. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with smudging, but you take the sage, you light it, and you never blow on it because you're blowing your spirit away. And you wait until it dies down, and then you kind of fan it over your body, and that's the blessing. And you say a blessing, and you kind of point to all the directions. And you know, one thing that I do is I always do my eyes so that my eyes can see clearly, and that my ears can hear clearly, and that my heart can feel. So it's different things that you can pray for, but it's sort of taking away the negativity around you. If you've ever, I'll bring this, if you ever seen those paranormal shows, have you ever watched those? And they, first thing, what do they bring out? Sage. And they go through and they're like doing like this sound they make, whoof, whoof, you know, around. And then they say, oh, this house is clean of all the spirits and everything. But then in the, if you're actually gonna smudge, you're supposed to open the window. So technically the spirits are sitting in the kitchen playing cards until you're done, you know? So it's, and I always laugh because it's like, okay, well, you know, you really didn't get rid of anybody. They just wait until you finish so they can come back out again. But you know, it's the way they pick up the practices, not knowing the full extent of how to smudge and why we smudge. So it's things like that, and our spirituality is listening to the earth, Mother Earth, because this is where we're born from, and this is where we'll go back to, and it's listening to her. You know, when you get up, you know, you have to look around. If you see a rock, if you ever pick up just a rock, and you don't know how long that rock has been there, but do you know how much history is in that rock? How many people have passed by it? How many people have touched it? You know, like you just don't know. And we call them the rock people because they have a lot of wisdom, and we respect the rock people. And you think about the trees. When you pass a tree, if you've ever seen the roots of a tree, think of all that as wisdom. You know, it's going all the way through the earth, and that's all wisdom. And see, this is why we respect these things. And, you know, birds flying in the air, you know, the ants, everything is spiritual to us. So long ago, when we would have our meetings, that was our spiritual thing, to bring everybody together. We would sit in a circle, and maybe the chief would speak, and everybody would sit there, and he would give them the wisdom. He is an elder. He would give them the wisdom, and they would listen to him. So wherever we were at, we could have our church. It didn't have to be in a building. It could be in the woods. It could be people around, just around a rock, and an elder talking. And that is the way, I look at it, because when I get up in the morning, I know that the Creator was responsible for that. When I smudge and I go outside and I smudge, no matter how cold it is, sometimes I had to get fully dressed when it's real cold, but no matter how cold it is, you're going out there and, you're lighting your stage, and the smoke is what carries your prayers to the grandfather's son. And that's what's carrying your prayers. And you should always go with a good heart when you do this. And this is what we look at. We look at everything, the birds, that are flying, the ants, the frog, everything has a reason. The animals taught us about our medicines, how we can heal with those. If you don't mind, I'll just tell you just this little thing so you'll know how we watch the animals, how we know that they heal. And in that, our medicine is very spiritual. There was a spider, a poisonous spider, and a toad. They were fighting. Can you imagine that? They were fighting. And so the spider would bite the toad all the time. So the toad would go over to this plant. He'd take a bite of it. He'd come back for more fighting. The spider would bite him again. He'd go back over to the plant, and he was like taking a piece of that plant. He came back, and so there was someone, a man, watching him, and they were watching the spider and the toad fight. And then the man went over and looked at the weed that he was eating. He went over to the plant and he pulled it up. And then the spider, the toad went back over there to fight, and then the spider bit him again, and he went back over there, but the plant was gone. So the toad died because that was his healing medicine to cure poison. And we found out it was milkweed. And that was what was killing, that was saving him from that. But even in gathering that, you have to be respectful and don't take more than you need. He took it all. So instead of leaving some. So even when we're gathering or doing anything, it's that respect that we pay first. Like when you're taking if you're out and you're picking herbs, leave a offering of tobacco, because tobacco is our first, that's one of our first herbs, and that's very healing. So whatever I take, I will leave something in place because I'm taking from them and trying to give back. But if you think about it, when you wherever you're at, wherever in the native culture, wherever you're at, if something's not right, we all pray to the God, Creator, Mohammed, different names, but that means we can be spiritual wherever we're at. If something, and I know everybody has done this, if you're feeling some kind of way and you want to pray about it, you just stop and say a prayer, and that is the same way with us, But my grandfather was a reverend in Martin's Chapels Baptist Church, which is the community church. And I was gifted with his briefcase and his Bible. And inside, he wrote things down in his Bible, which, is so precious, and even to hold his briefcase and feel his hands where he held that briefcase when he was going to preach his sermons. And so I've been around that, and growing up with the elders, whenever we were out doing something, they would explain everything. They would explain the sky. They would explain Mother Earth, They would explain when Mother Earth was pregnant, with her babies. And this is why we don't dance when the ground is hard, because she's pregnant with her babies. So we respect Mother Earth in that way. Even when we have our sweat lodge, we're using things from the earth, the rocks, that, when you go in on your knees, you're humbling yourself to Mother Earth, you're going into her womb, and there you're getting cleansed, you're getting everything out, you're getting all this negativity, however you're feeling, anxiety or anything, then when you're done, then you come back out and you bathe in water, sort of like baptism, right? Bathing in the water. So it's just that when we go outside that is our church, because we honor those. if you ever notice when we're dancing at a powwow and we raise our fans out, we're giving a respect and honor to the birds that let us have their feathers and their wings for our fans. So it's all around us, and we listen to our elders because they're full of wisdom and spirituality, and it's what's inside of you and what you feel that can combat a lot of things like anxiety, depression, and things like that when you feel that you're going through this. But in my culture, you're never alone, because we feel that the ancestors are always behind us in a line, and this is the support that we get from them. And even when we're together in our healing circles, that is very spiritual to us, because we can open up and we can talk about anything. It does not matter, and we're not judgmental. And it creates this wonderful spiritual bond between everybody, because you have that support of your relatives, and of your ancestors. So our religion is everything. When you go outside, when the rain is falling, we need that rain, because people say, oh gosh, it's such a terrible day, it's raining outside. But then when it's not raining, then people say, oh, we need rain. But, Mother Earth knows exactly what we need, and she gives it to us as we need it. And, I'm just very thankful that, in our culture, everything we do has a spiritual thing to it. When we're dancing, when we're listening, when we're just quiet, because that's the biggest thing. Some people don't listen, and you have to listen, and you learn, and you learn how to be that way, how to walk the red road, how to walk the good road. And this way you can teach your children, your grandchildren, how to walk that road and how to be spiritual, and how that this can help you come back a lot of things that you're feeling, instead of getting pills to do this or things like that. It's a way that that you can come back to being yourself. Our ceremonies are powerful, because when we're doing that, we're paying honor to Mother Earth. When we're dancing on Mother Earth, or we're having any type of ceremony, we're paying that honor to Mother Earth. And this keeps us grounded. It keeps us really grounded. And living with I'll say the old ones, because they say I'm an old one too, but living with the old ones, it was just, and I take that as a compliment, actually. But living with them, just sitting there and listening to my grandmother, just like listening to her. And she dipped snuff, and I always had to go get a branch out the tree. But she would always tell me before I took that branch, say thank you, and so she could dip her snuff in it. So even then, it was like that thank you, you're going to take something from this tree, you're going to say thank you. Even though I would get the wrong type, I had to go back, but I soon learned. But just things like that, and just looking at everything, and how even to the smallest thing. I don't know if you're familiar with juniper beads, but they fall from the tree, and when they fall from the tree, the ants get them, and they kind of eat a little hole in them. And then if you're an artist, you'll just put a little hole on the other side. But, it kind of connects you from the berry being on the tree. So there's the tree. It falls to the ground. Here comes the ant, and it processes by putting a little hole in it. And then once they're dried, we can make necklaces out of them. They're actually called ghost beads. And they're said to protect you when you wear them. And they're actually like, oops, this is what it looks like. It's beads. It's a juniper bead, and it's actually fallen from the tree. And I just put little turquoise stones in it. But you wear it, and they said it does protect you, and that's why they call them ghost beads. But what I was trying to illustrate is that from the tree, to the ground, to the ant, to getting to me, it's like we're all connected. And that's the way they feel, that we're all connected. As the people, we're all connected. We're connected to the creepy crawlers, the four-leggeds, everyone. And it all plays a purpose in our spirituality. So we don't look at them as like something that is not connected. We connect them through our spirituality, that they're there for that purpose, and this is how we honor them and the respect that is due. And elders are wonderful for teaching you about spirituality, because they have so much wisdom, and they can tell you that. And me and Allison were talking about, sometimes when you're young, somebody tells you the story 4 or 5 times, you go, oh God, I don't want to hear that story again. But as you listen, you begin to learn more, like each time they tell you. And Tammy can attest to this. We have a cousin that does that. But you listen to them all the time, and then you learn something more about that. So that's why we say that sometimes we sit at the elders' feet, and then they can tell us about the old ways, how they worship. I was told that my grandmother and my grandfather only went to church once a month because the ride was so long, that they had to ride for so long to get there. So it's actually like once a month that they went because of that. But even though during that time, they still were very spiritual, and they worshiped during that time that they were not in church. But so you learn, you kind of learn these things going back, and listening to them. And I think that like even when you look at, like, say, I used this example one time, when you see like, I asked people, I said, you see this lady, she has all these wrinkles in her face, all these lines, and then you see this other lady that's young and vibrant. So which one do you think is more beautiful? And of course, they say, oh, the younger one. But to me, the older one was beautiful, because within all those lines in her face, all those wrinkles, those are the tracks of wisdom. That she's lived through many years, and this is all wisdom in her face. And my people have lived to be on their hundreds. I had an aunt that died when she was 103, but when you visited her, she would talk about things long ago. And I would ask her certain questions, and I was very inquisitive, and she would answer those. But it got to the place where you respect people. You have to respect everybody. No one's the same. And this comes in with spirituality, because my views are not your views. So you have to respect that, and you have to listen, because sometimes when people want to tell you something, they really want you to listen. And if you can offer that help. And I feel that that's also a part of what we were taught. We were taught to listen. Like if the grown-ups were having a conversation, you didn't interrupt them. When my mother was on the phone, never go near her. She would hold that one finger. And if but it was out of respect, like say I'm on the conversation and I'm doing this. And but our religion, like all religions, are beautiful. It does not matter how you refer to, like we say Mohammed or creator. It does not matter how you refer to that. It's what you're feeling, what your values are, and how you look at things. But with me, I was brought up that way, just to honor everything, and to just when I'm outside, I look around and I see the beauty in everything. And they say you have to walk in beauty, because you actually do. If you look around, you'll see the most beautiful things you've never seen before. And this is what it is. It's that spiritual part where you're honoring everything. And it kind of indwells in you, because my grandmother was an evangelist, and like the Saturday night, she would sit and make her a hat or a turban to wear. But when she talked to you about everything, everybody was an individual, and she taught us like that because all the qualities. But just listening to her, and how when she was in church, listening to, the things she would say kind of grounded me. And so I have it, like both my mom and my dad are Native. So I kind of got it from both sides and just being able to live that way. But it does help you along the way. And then I feel like sometimes people that are lost, if you can lend a hand or tell them what you've learned or something that you've been through because of your beliefs, that it does help. And the Native American way is to share our culture, share our beliefs, so people can understand that and have it coming from us and not from someone else. So it doesn't get, it doesn't get misconstrued in the understanding of that. So I think that a lot of people are just really curious as to our spirituality, but we live in it every single day.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Vicki. I am so appreciative, as I know many are. It's so fun to watch the faces that I can see on the top of the screen just smile and nod, and all of it's meaningful. I open the chat for questions. So if folks want to throw questions there, you should be able to chat now.
Allison, it doesn't seem to be working. I'm trying to put something in. Yeah.
That's odd.
Disabled and then enabled, yeah.
Will it let you now?
Yes, thank you. It's working now. Okay.
Thanks, Tammy, for that test. Great. I'm just still learning all things Zoom. So let us know your thoughts and questions. To get us going, I wonder if you will talk about the feather that is behind you. I know we talked about it a little bit when you first.
Oh, the one that's behind me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually on my bulletin board. And also I have like a medicine bag up there, a tobacco tie, and also I have a ribbon for the missing and murdered Indigenous women. So it kind of stays with me all the time. But a feather is very symbolic. When someone's gifted an eagle feather, for instance, they have to have done something that warrants that. You just don't, give out eagle feathers. It has to be something that they're honoring you for. And so that is a big honor. But any feather, that you just take really care of it. And feathers can be used in so many different ways. They're used with our dancers. We put them in our hair. We smudge with them.
Thank you. I think it's so interesting what we choose to put in our spaces about us. And often, especially on Zoom now with the pandemic, I'm always curious into someone's, space and what they prioritize, right? Awesome, thank you. So the first question, if you feel comfortable to answer, is did you feel a conflict between your father's Christian faith and your own Native spirituality?
Are you talking about my grandfather's?
It says fathers, but I think
no, I didn't. No, I didn't, because as I said, both my parents are Native American, and I did not, because at one time or another, we worship like we did like the traditional way, but then they started going to churches like community churches like Martin's Chapel, Jeffrey's Cross, and things like that. So I didn't, because it was still to me based on the same concept. So I did not feel that way. And I felt I was getting a double dose. So I didn't feel that way.
Great, thank you. There's another question. How do you name a deity, or would you say that the Earth is the deity?
The Earth, Mother Earth is, Mother Earth is responsible for us being here, and we'll go back to Mother Earth. So that's why it's so much respect. And even, Father Sky, when you look up into the sky, that's Father Sky. Mother Earth is when you're standing on her, and everything else around you is so bountiful. So we're encompassed by Mother Earth, and that's what we pay our respect and honor to.
Great. Keep asking us your questions, folks. I need more material. But also, I wonder, I'm a curious human being. Um, will you tell us a little bit about moments of growth in perhaps youth in your community and how you talk a lot about teaching the
Mhm.
folks, but are there moments where you find celebration as they grow? And what do you do to celebrate that growth?
Yeah. We find in our youth, we find celebration in anything that they do. We try to, make sure that they let us know what's going on, and we celebrate them by just, like the whole community will, know that we don't have a special ceremony, but we celebrate them by letting them know. And the thing is that they let us know, so they want us to know what's going on with them. In our monthly newsletter, we always ask, like, tell us what you're doing, tell us what you have done. And, you get the feedback. And even when you turn like 18 or something like that, that's a celebration. So they usually will tell us that. But we're so proud of all our youth, no matter what they do. And they do have a way of letting us know, or when we're having some type of a program or something comes up, and or even like anything that comes up where it's youth involved, we try to reach out to our youth and let them know that, for them to be involved in this.
Thank you. I have another question. Can you describe what a powwow is and what it means?
Mhm. A powwow is not a ceremony. It's getting together. It's intertribal. Excuse me. It's intertribal, and all tribes come together. And we share our culture that way. We have dancing, we have native food, we have storytelling, we have crafters, and the public is always invited. And it's a good way for them to interact with us. We have elders that love to talk, so they can talk with the elders. We have social dances where they can come in and they can dance. But basically, it is all tribes are invited. So it's not just the Occaneechi tribe, it's all tribes. And it's just a way of coming together. It's not a ceremony because we're not performing ceremonies, but it's a way of all of us coming together. And like it's like a year since you danced with this person or something like that, and we all catch up on different things. And it's just a wonderful way of being together. And the powwows are so spiritual because everybody is saying, okay, this is what happened. My son got married. I'm a grandmother. I'm this, but it's that, and it's a wonderful way of coming together.
Yes, and I know I shared with you growing up in Grand Rapids and the
Mm-hmm.
powwows in that community, and
Yeah.
feeling invited even as a white person to speak and listen and share. There was a question actually about that overlap between tribes. Do you find that spiritual practices differ amongst different tribes, or are there similar core beliefs?
Yeah, they are somewhat similar. All our practices are similar, and they do have differences. Like everybody says, can you do a rain dance? No, that's the Hopi. So they do differ, but they're based on the same concept, but they do differ. Like the Saponi have a different ceremony. The Hopi has a different ceremony. Navajo has a different one. So, but they are kind of all the same, but we do have our different ceremonies.
Okay, that's helpful. In the introduction, you gave us your bio. It talked about you as an herbalist.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question if you will share your favorite and most important herbs and the way they're used.
Oh God. Do you all have a couple of hours,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a tough. Did Tammy tell you to tell me that?
No, I promise. I promise.
All right, Tammy's my cousin. That's why I'm picking on her, No, well, all the herbs are really special. But like, let me see, what is that's hard. I don't have a favorite herb, but just even with like, say in the morning, I drink hibiscus, tea. And that helps lower your blood pressure. Does a lot of different things for you, because I don't want to be, I'm 66 and I don't want to be on any pills. So, drinking the teas and things like that. But you have rosemary, you can make rosemary tea, you can make pine needle tea, you have blue butterfly pea flower tea. You have, I mean, like, oh my God, you have, oh my gosh, you have yarrow root, you have like so many teas, but peppermint tea, and they all help you with something. Peppermint tea, if you have bad IBS, or if you have upset stomach, drink some peppermint tea. And I mean, a lot of things will like help with colds and coughs and stuff like that. And even like mugwort, like say if you go outside and you get bit by mosquitoes, if you boil a little bit and rub it on your arm, they're gone. So it's like different things that the herbs are so, I mean, it's so many different herbs. And sometimes people will send me messages and ask me like, okay, I'm having this, is there something? You can even mix salves out of them, make, like for rashes on your face. And I mean, it's endless. But, I usually, my daughter, she has a torn meniscus and her knee fills up with fluid sometimes. So, I make cedar tea for her because it gets rid of the fluid off of her knee. And I just go to the tribal grounds and that's what I pick. But I love all the herbs. I'm sorry. I love them all.
I think that speaks to the message of you saying God's in everything, right?
Yeah.
We can't choose one herb over the other, knowing that it's all divine. Thank you for sharing a bit about that. There was a question earlier, if you could elaborate and speak more about dancing and what that means to you and how you come together through that.
Okay. I am a ladies traditional dancer, and my regalia I've been wearing, I'm gonna date myself now. Let's see. I've been wearing for about 35 years. It's the same, it's a skin. I've been wearing for about 35 years, and my moccasins too, because you can see my toe prints in my moccasins, but being in the circle, being a traditional dancer, it's more of like a graceful dance because you have the fancy dancers and jingle dancers, but it's more of a graceful dance for an old woman, and so that you're not jumping around. But it's like I don't know, like you kind of flow when you're doing it, and you're listening to the heartbeat of the drum, which is Mother Earth, and you're in the circle, which is very sacred. And so it's just when you're in there, you're with your ancestors, and it's so much respect. And you actually dance with another woman. You don't dance with the men. So your partner will be another woman. And it's just that feeling that you get, even when your fringe touches the ground, you're like saying, like you're connecting with your ancestors because of the sway of the fringe. And with each honor beat, that's when you raise your fan up and honor the winged ones. So it's the way that you go in and you come out. You never go backwards when you're coming out. You go all the way around. And normally the arena director will smudge us before we go in there. And we give an offering of tobacco. But it's such a wonderful feeling when you're in there. It's like nothing. Let's see. It's like my surroundings. I know it's a lot of people around. And it's just that you're into what you're doing, the honor part of it, of dancing, and also with the person that you're next to and you're dancing with them. And it's an incredible feeling because I know that my ancestors are there. And I know that I'm honoring Mother Earth. So it's all this together. And I feel her heartbeat from the drum. Because when my feet are on the ground, and the drum, we sing our drum. So when they're singing our drum, I can feel like that vibration. I don't know how, it's just like a vibration that's coming up through my feet. And it's just that swaying and everything. It's like sort of meditative, and when you're doing this, and it's just an absolutely wonderful feeling to do that.
Wow. It sounds like that's such a space of joy for you. And Tammy's asking if she can elaborate. I'm gonna bring her.
Uh-oh.
I know. Are you okay with that? I mean, yeah. Let's bring her in.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Hey, Vicki. Vicki, thank you for being here. We're really honored to have you in our space today. But as Vicki was talking about being in the circle and dancing and losing yourself in that, when I was the editor for the newsletter and I would do the stories and go to the different powwows, seeing her and another one of my cousins, it was one time at the North Carolina Museum of, the North Carolina School of Arts. And we have our, I think the first powwow of the season happens there in January. So kind of kicking off the powwow season. And I was taking pictures and she was dancing with one of our cousins that we love and hold dear. And it really did seem so transcending for them. The picture was beautiful. The feeling was beautiful. And then as I would take other pictures of other dancers, and then especially when you have people out there with their children and they're dancing, there's a picture of Vicki with her grandchild that I really love. Same thing with my brother, whenever he brings his grandson in the circle, it's just that feeling that they are in a different space, in a space of honor. So, I just wanted to elaborate on that part, just from my perspective and my viewpoint of being out there on the sidelines and seeing it as as an outside viewer.
Thank you so much. I love that. Well, first of all, that you were here, Tammy, to share that and that we can understand that community feeling, even though we're not all together right now in one space. But that energy that moves between folks is real. I think it's real. All right. I'm going to put you back from the spotlight now. There we go. Let's see. We've got still quite a bit of time. There's one question about the history of your tribe. If you're comfortable sharing what it in the past, was there assimilation? Was there removal? Are the people who are in your tribe who remain here returning to this space, or did they ever leave in terms of history?
Okay. In terms of history, we're actually in Clarksville, Virginia. We had a reservation there. It was called Horse's Head, Junk Horse's Head. And Nathaniel Bacon, I'm sure everybody's read about him. Yeah, he waged war against us. So we actually, to make a long story short, we actually left there, and some went to Ohio, some went to North Carolina, to different places. They actually came back again to the reservation. And of course, warfare and other things started again. So they migrated to Ohio and also to North Carolina. And we went to the Pleasant Grove community, what they call it the PG, Pleasant Grove community. And they kind of dubbed it Little Texas because they thought we were Tex-Mexicans. They were not sure actually what our ethnic background was. And so we kind of settled in a Pleasant Grove community. And of course, Little Texas, what they call. But a lot of the people stayed there, are there. And I know that sometimes when I kind of just drive through there, some of the very old houses are still up there, are still there. And a lot of our people are there. A lot of our people have moved away to different areas. But we have over 2,000 people on our tribal rolls, and they're not all here. So they're kind of keeping, they keep in contact, and we're still connected. But, as years pass, of course, we assimilated, but, we still have our culture because that's just the way of the world. And, but we have a number of people that still live in the Pleasant Grove community.
Thank you. I think that's helpful as we try to understand whose land we're on. Getting to know you and your community as well. There's a question about how you would welcome folks of other cultures into yours and what that looks like.
Are you saying just as like, say, if people, when you're saying just people coming to visit us, or to like just
I'm not
to?
sure what the intent was. It says, how do you welcome those of other cultures?
Whenever someone visits us, we do welcome them. We try to make people feel at home. We have had powwows where we usually will get MCs from other tribes to come, but when they do come, we have tried to make everybody feel very welcome. I don't care if you're just a visitor or, whatever. We do try to make you feel very welcome. And if we get your name and we start talking to you, we put you to work. So, it's just, we don't really see strangers. You know what I mean? Like we're a very welcoming tribe. And if you come out even to the tribal grounds to visit us, we're just all encompassing. We just we make you feel like we've known you for years. And so we always try to be very welcoming to everybody and share our culture that way. We have a lot of people that before COVID will come out to the tribal grounds, bring their children, walk along the tribal. We say, oh, bring your lunch. We got picnic tables, bring your lunch, just come on out. And even at the powwows, I'm the powwow chair, surprise, right? But I would go around and I would just, greet the visitors and especially the elders. And I don't care if you're non-native or what, we always make sure that the elders were taken care of, like water. I mean, we even went and got them food, whatever they needed, so they could be really comfortable. And so I would say that if you ever visit, to the tribal grounds or anything like that, you're not a stranger to us. So we do welcome you when you come in.
That's so wonderful. And I know we shared a couple words before we opened the waiting room about, different, like that's true, it seems, for much of the nation, that's a commonality between tribes of welcomeness. There's a question from Karen about where the tribal grounds are.
Okay, our physical address is 4902 Daily Store Road, and that's in Burlington. And right now, because of COVID, we usually have it open like 2 days a week, and COVID restrictions are in place. But it right now presently is closed because we have a little water problem out there with our well. So we will probably be back open in February. But people are welcome to come out, and we kind of have them call first to see if they would like to come out. And a lot of times, John Blackfeather, I know a lot of people are familiar with John Blackfeather, and he's one of our elders, and he'll call me up and go, Vicki, you going out to the tribal grounds? And and he'll come out and people sit and talk to him, and we have a mini museum, and they he'll talk about all the well, they're not artifacts, they're Johnny facts. He told me that last time, so they're Johnny facts. So he will explain all that. And if you have a couple of hours, because he really loves to talk, and as long as he gets him a cup of coffee from that coffee pot, which is actually a Keurig, but he calls it a coffee pot. And he's good, but he's a wealth of information, and people just love him. And usually when I'm out there, he comes out, not that I get any work done, but because he likes to talk, but it's a welcome thing. And but yeah. But it is really nice to walk the tribal grounds and to just freely go over.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had for a while, so I'm glad Karen asked it. I don't see any more questions in the chat unless they pop up while I'm talking. I know one of the best ways I learn is through storytelling, and you shared it with us. I wonder if you had a moment for one more story that you could share.
Oh, wow. Let me think. Do I have a moment for one more story? And our stories are usually told in the winter, because during the other months we're trying to gather, because we're hunter-gatherers, so we're trying to gather for the winter. Well, I can do, if you don't mind, I don't want to mess up, but I have the Saponi creation story, and I can read a little bit of that. Is that all right? Is everybody good with that? Okay. I know, I'm getting older, so my mind not might everything. I'm not really getting old. Okay. So this is a Saponi creation story, okay? So long ago, before what we call time began, there was Mahomni, who was the creator, who created all things. In the beginning, the Mahomni told the stars, the moon, the planet, and the sun their business and what their purpose would be. and they have faithfully performed them ever since. That same power created all things in the beginning, has always been present, and has continued to keep all things and the principles that govern them in constant motion and in the same method. Before the creation of the world, the life giver made many other worlds. Mahomny, who is very just and good, is pleased with those beings that possess godlike qualities as justice, honesty, and goodness. However, in time, these ancient worlds had either grown old or had become ruinous. Many forgot the teachings and the way of the Creator, making war upon one another and upon Mahomny's creation. Mahomny was not pleased and decided to punish the evildoers. Some worlds were destroyed due to dishonesty of their inhabitants. In time, the Creator made this world, a Mai, which is Earth, and put all living creatures upon her and filled her with great beauty.
Thank you. I see clapping.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're
and
welcome.
You've been such a gift to all of us.
Oh, thank you.
We are grateful. And Randy, I don't know if you had any final words, but I'm going to see. Yeah.
It's just been spectacular. And I did notice that in one of the comment lines, someone shared that they had been to the grounds and actually heard some of the elders talk and those kinds of things. I think it was Jan. Thank you, Jan. You are probably introducing to us, especially in this area, I know it's COVID time, but one of the most accessible opportunities, hands-on opportunities to come and be a part. So I really want to appreciate that too. And I also want to say thank you to you for being here with us today. I've learned a great deal, and I hope everyone else has. I want to just say a special thank you to Allison. Allison put this all together and has just done an incredible job of balancing out ways that we can speak together from an interfaith perspective, and also understanding two different spirituality backgrounds, religion, if you want to call, because I hate to use the word of religion now that you said that religion doesn't work for you. And I think we've heard that again and again, that the word religion was actually developed, I think, by Christians, especially as part of the colonizing movement, and that they were bringing religion to different places. So I think that's an important disclaimer. But I'm so appreciative, and I think we're all appreciative of this week, and I hope that we can get a chance to get out and come visit your grounds, because it sounds like it's well worth it.
Please do.
But thank you. But once again, Allison, thank you for putting together such a great week of Winterfaith, and we have always been the welcoming agency. We've always been the host, and this time it was Zoom that was the host. And so I'm so thankful that though we had so many on board, and I just think that this has been really well worth the experience. I just want to remind everyone, I think, as Allison said, she's working hard to get these recorded so that these you can be a Winterfaith evangelist and share them with friends and let them know what kind of value this experience is, and to have actual people like Vicki here who shares from real stories. And I loved when you started off and you said, I'm not speaking for the whole religion or the whole faith tradition. I'm speaking for my experience. And I think that's one of the greatest things we've learned. So thank you. So I just want to say, we're a little early, which is really unlike us. Go figure. But let's appreciate that, and let's just say that we'll be waiting for next year to see what next year brings. And Allison, if you want to go ahead and finish up and just say a final goodbye, but thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Randy. And thank you, Vicki, once more for letting us be a part of the way you view the world, even just for the time we had it. And maybe we'll go and learn more and continue to grow and not be strangers. And faith next year. Peace be with you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all.